Welcome to Man Talk 133 with Shaw and Daryl.
Yes,
Welcome
sir. Yes,
everybody
sir.
into the show, man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So tonight, brother, we want to welcome everybody into the show, man.
Okay.
Look like we might have a few technical difficulties, man, but
Yeah, I see it over there in the
yeah, but
chat.
it's all good, y'all. Hey, thank
Yeah.
y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for coming into the show tonight. What we're going to be talking about tonight, we're going to be talking about the felon prison system. The felon
Okay.
prison system. Uh,
Okay.
what's wrong? You now, from personal experience, you have worked in the prison system before,
Right.
right?
Years back. Yep.
So, what do you think the problem is with the prison system?
Man, they got for me, man, especially before I got out of there, that was years back though. It's the worker shortage. It's hard to get people, man, to work, man, and in that type of environment, a lot of people can't handle it, man.
Uh huh.
It comes with a lot of stress, man, and
Hmm.
I think, like I said, I don't know what the stats look like that you got over there, but I would say definitely a worker shortage. And then,
Okay.
like I said, that'll put stress on, like one guy, like I've seen times that was back when I was working, so I know it's even worse. Um, I might be at the gym or either on the yard that day when I'm working. I might have about 200, 250 inmates,
Hmm.
and I'm the only guy out there with them as an officer.
Wow, that's
And
crazy.
if somebody get to fighting or something like that, you got to blow the whistle or whatever you need to do. But they'll tell you, you the only one. They'll tell you to stand down, and hey,
Hmm.
the boys got to do what they got to do to help get out there. You know what I'm saying? So I would say like a worker shortage.
All right. So they said the U.S. prison system faces significant issues, including inhumane conditions, high
Hmm.
boy, I can't get this y'all know what I'm talking about, recidivism, whatever it is, rates
Yeah.
and racial disparities, right? These
Hmm.
problems stem from factors like overcrowding,
Hmm.
inadequate health care, and lack of rehabilitation programs and
Hmm.
punitive sentencing practices. So
Hmm.
here's a breakdown. Inhumane conditions, which is overcrowding. Prisons are often overcrowded, leading to unsanitary conditions, inadequate health care, and higher risk in violence. Lack of health care. um, Incarcerated individuals often have limited access to quality health care, including mental health services, pre-existing health problems. So think about that. Now
Right.
you dumping all these people. It's already overcrowded.
Hmm.
Now you got people that have mental health issues,
There
and
you
you
know.
dumping all of them into this one place, dog.
Yeah, all
And
right together.
not to mention what you started with. You
Hmm.
said that it's a shortage. Way back, some time back when you worked, it was a shortage.
It's even worse now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
even worse because you got even more people that's getting locked up and going to jail, right?
Hmm.
So punitive sentences. Many individuals are incarcerated for long periods for non-violent crimes if they are not a threat to public safety, which
Hmm.
which is leading to the overcrowding issue that we're having in the prisons.
Right.
Um, prisons overlook. Prisons often lack resources and programs to help individuals develop skills, education, and treatment needed for successful reintegration into society, which means they're gonna
Mhm.
go get out of prison
Do the same joint one more time. Same
eh,
thing again.
because they don't have the resources for them to get the
Mhm.
education and stuff to try to help them benefit once
Mhm.
they get out of prison. So
Right.
it's kind of like a revolving door.
And if you let that sink in, man, like you said, with the mental health aspect, like you
Mhm.
just taking these guys and just dumping them in,
Yeah,
whether they, innocent or guilty or whatever, they in there.
yeah.
And you got all these different personalities. And then you got, like I say, then combined with the worker shortage, And it's like, because like I said, man, you got to deal with them guys with the different personalities and all that stuff like that, and the mental health aspect of dealing with the inmates.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, man, it's just a melting pot.
Yeah, it's like man, you talking about like a what like dynamite, bro. You sticking all
Yeah.
this stuff in there, and people kind of got like these issues, and they kind of got
Mhm,
like they ain't kind of got some of them do have mental health issues.
mhm.
Then people already have violent backgrounds, and
Yep.
then when you take them and you dump them into this place, then this what we get, and then we
Mhm.
got then number two, you have high recidivism rates. I think I got it that time, dog.
Yeah, I
I
think you got
fumbled
it.
through it the first time. Uh, incarceration as a school for crime. Harsh. This is according to the Vera Institute. Harsh and violent environments within prisons can lead to increased criminal behavior upon release. They go to
Mhm,
jail and learn how to be criminals,
mhm.
basically better criminals.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They go in there and they it's like a school of they teach them so when you get out, so you won't get caught the next time, you go
Right.
do this and you do it this way, and then whatever, blah blah blah. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
like
saying?
I was gonna add on. You said exactly what I was add on to too. Because like I said, man, they got all day to think about what they're gonna do next, or like
Yeah,
you said, where they messed up at. And like you said, then you got old timers in there. They're schooling the new guys, like, hey
yeah,
man, this what you should have, this what you done wrong, and this what you should have did.
yeah,
What I'm saying. So it's like it's a breeding ground for training.
yeah, yeah, and
Without the programs, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying. To train them, because some prisons. Now I don't know, but North Carolina, but I know Virginia used to have them because I knew a guy that that he was like that. He was got locked up in the Virginia
Mm-hmm,
prison, and of course they had like different jobs that you can gravitate to when for the outside world, like with small engines or either like heating and air,
mm-hmm. Yep.
stuff like that. So and I
Yeah.
don't know if North Carolina has that, but
Right.
that's a good field to get into if either one of those two, so you can translate to the outside world.
Right, right, man. And you're talking about it creates it creates a revolving. No, this is one of the
Mhm,
reasons why the prisons are failing. And what I mean by that, they're failing the people that's coming out, and they're
mhm,
failing as a whole. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Because you think about this, the retention, reintegration. People with criminal records face challenges in securing employment, housing, and other resources, and
mhm.
making it difficult to rebuild their lives after release. Now, I know what a lot of people saying. The prisons didn't put them in prison. They
Yeah.
did it. I get it.
Mhm.
But I personally feel like, it's people deserve a second chance, man.
Right.
Everybody ain't done right everything in life. So when they
Right.
come out, it's like it's set up for them to go right back
Yeah.
because I mean you're making money off of it. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah. Because like you said, with the when they get out, they got that felon is attached to them, to their profile.
Yeah.
They can't get no decent job.
Nah, nah.
It's a lot of stuff that exclude them,
Yeah.
by them being a felon.
Yeah. True that.
So they looking at it, man. Hey, man, I ain't got nothing else to lose, but
Yeah.
hey, go back here and sell this. I got to get some money somewhere. You
Yeah.
know.
True that. And they go right back into the same old lifestyle because you think about it, the
Hmm.
dude that set them up to go to prison, he's
Hmm.
still out setting up
Yep.
other suckers.
Yep.
So when you come out, you just an old sucker. If you go back to the same, if
Yeah.
you go back to the same thing that you the old sucker. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So he's like, hey, bro, I know you got a little experience. You know,
Hmm.
hey man, if you come back and work for me, man, I give you a little bit more on that. You know what I'm saying? Than what I was giving you in the beginning. I know you at the warehouse making $12 an hour. Man, you can get $1,000 a night. And guess
You
what
know
they do?
they
Fall
gonna
right
jump.
back into it.
They gonna jump on that 1,000 a night.
Definitely gonna jump into it
Quick.
that quick. And then next, we got racial disparities. According to the NAACP. You got to consider the source. You dig what I'm saying? People of color are particularly Black individuals are disproportionately incarcerated, reflecting systemic bias in policing, sentencing, in the legal system. Now I got my own personal thoughts on it. My personal thoughts on it. If you ain't got your little honey out there doing stuff, you ain't got to worry about it. And I ain't saying that they're not racial profiling, because in some cases they are.
Right.
But if you ain't out there doing the dirt, then you ain't got to worry about, getting caught. That's just me. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm right.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Stay your little tail at home. There's the way to fix that. Racial profiling and discriminatory policing practice can contribute to the unequal treatment of minorities within the criminal justice system. Now, when they say that, follow me a little bit. Now, when they say minorities within, now would they be talking about the area you in, or they just talking about Blacks in general? Because in some areas, the whites could be the minority.
Right.
In some areas, the Hispanics can be the minority. So which minority are they talking about? Blacks as a whole?
More likely, I think they're probably talking about Blacks as a whole. Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's what they mean when they say that.
Yeah.
I got you. If you're looking at the track record.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now, I got some more, but I'm gonna come back to them. Now, these problems, if I get my thing to work, these problems highlighted the need for systemic. Bro, I don't know what's going on with this voice tonight, dog. I can't get the word. It's like my tongue sticking.
We said last week it was pollen. This week is something else.
This week is the Porky Pig spirit. Just jumped on me, dog. I can't get the word.
Yeah.
The problems highlighted in the need for systemic reforms within the prison system, including addressing overcrowding, improving health care, providing rehabilitation programs, reducing punitive sentences practices, and addressing the racial disparities. Now, let's talk about the numbers. Let's talk about the numbers. Within the U.S., it has the largest number of prisons worldwide. More than 1.8 million people were incarcerated in the United States at the beginning of 2025, February 20th, 2025. Why do you think the number is so high? Then I'll tell you why.
Repeat that again, man, because I was over here trying to get something out of the chat with they saying something about the Twitter. I didn't want to click us off the live, so I was kind of trying to. But go ahead, repeat that again. Okay, I got it straight now though.
Okay, it's a U.S. Has the largest number of prisoners worldwide. More than 1.8 million people were incarcerated in the U.S. At the beginning of 2025. February 20th, 2025. Why do you think, I got some here, but why do you think the number is so high?
In 2025?
No, I'm just saying, why do you think the numbers are so high with just in general with people being incarcerated in the United States? We have the highest number of all in worldwide in prisons.
Well, one of them I would say, like you got some job losses, in the community. It depends on, like where it don't really matter right now what community you're in, but there's a lot of people out here doing crime now, man. Just like job loss, you got people to fraud, doing fraud and stuff like that, and so I say they're just doing, criminal activity at an all-time high, man, just trying to make it. So because they, in turn they get knocked off, they getting busted.
Right. And you think about this compared to other countries, the United States has the highest incarceration rate globally, significantly exceeding countries. In 2021, the U.S. had an incarceration rate of 531 per 100,000 population, the sixth highest rate worldwide. This means the U.S. holds a disproportionately large percentage of world prisoners, about 23.4% of the global incarcerated population. Hey, we're gonna come right back after the break. We're gonna follow up after the break, y'all.
Okay. All right, bet.
It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey, from the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop, and his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's the light. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on the front line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, pay the ultimate price. Oh. He was the man of the house when he was born. His family is proud but torn. But if you knew him, you would understand. He was raised on how to be brave, just to see the flag still wave. And then he came home with only one hand. He's Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, hear the light. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Red, White, and Blue, stand on these front lines. Red, White, and Blue, he'll pay the ultimate price. Red, White, and Blue, lay down his life. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. March in line, march in line. Hey. Hey.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Welcome back to Man Talk 130.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Paul and Daryl. So before the break, man, we was talking about why the numbers were what the numbers were. I think I left off with like about 23.4% of the global incarcerated population is in the U.S. So if we look at it from a global context, right? While the U.S. represents about 4.2 of the world's population, it houses around 20% of the world's prisoners. In comparison to countries like El Salvador, Cuba, and Rwanda, also have high incarceration rates, but the U.S. rate remains significantly higher. Now, my take on that, I would think it would be higher because we have more people.
Yeah, I agree with saying more stuff to get into. If you, you know what I'm saying?
Right. You know what I'm saying? So these numbers that they're not, when I look at that, now 2 million is a lot of people, but compared to how many people in the US, I think is kind of low.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's just me. I don't know. I'm not, an analyst and can break down the numbers, but
Right.
in this context, but I'm just saying it's just like, I think it's low.
Mm-hmm.
It's just me. The U.S. has been criticized for its punitive criminal justice system, its tendency to use incarceration as the primary response to crime, and its reliance on long prison sentences. So, what do you think? When they say that, they use that as a this was going to happen to you.
A scare tactic.
Yeah, what do you think something else could be done like to avoid jail time? So like, all right, let's use this as an example, right?
Okay.
Attempted murder.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of getting jail time, what do you think what can happen,
Man, hey. That's a good question, man. Like I don't know if if it's another alternative to that. Like, attempted
I
murder.
don't either.
You know what I'm saying? So
So
hey,
let me ask you this then. Like, for example, a lower crime that say like if you get caught with marijuana, right?
okay.
A lot of marijuana. What would be what you think would be an alternative? Because they're saying that we do have, we get long, they give out long sentences, which is causing overcrowdedness. You dropping people in with mental health issues, you dropping killers in there with people. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's where the money aspect come in, on the scene, with the like I said, like when you use marijuana, little petty theft crimes or whatever. When they try to get them these big sentences, because like say you using the marijuana aspect, that one, the higher ups gonna want to know who your plug is.
Right.
So if you don't tell them who your plug is, then they're gonna threaten you with this long sentence. A lot of guys don't snitch. So they gonna get these long sentences, which I think that, like you said, marijuana or whatever, they shouldn't get no sentences like that. Now, that fentanyl and stuff like that, that's heroin, that's a different story. Because that's really killing people.
Right. I mean, and then too, the show is failing, the felon prison system. Now, if we're primarily making this thing about money, because the more people that they come in, the more money they make. And then you're putting out a bad product. You're putting out people that's coming out, they go in as killers, or they go in with petty theft and come out and know how to rob banks and basically get away with it.
Right.
So how does that help?
And like I said, I guess, a lot of times it's repeat offenders, you know what I'm saying? It's like you said, recycle. Because see, they're getting cheap labor. They getting cheap labor in the prison system too. Like I don't know what the wages is now. I think back in the day it was like $1.25 a day or something like that.
Yeah.
They making stuff, because like I said, when I worked at the prison I worked at, they used to do the laundry, and they had a cannery department, and they canned all the canned goods for the schools and for North Carolina and all that stuff like that, right? And hospitals and stuff. And then they also did laundry. They used to ship the trucks in with all the laundry and stuff like that for these big hospitals and stuff like that. So they did a lot of stuff like that, and that was like cheap labor.
Right.
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
Crazy.
So that's why I look at it as the like I say, as repeat offenders. So when they go out, they don't teach them nothing in the joint. So when they go back out, they know they coming back. So it's like a revolving door. They know they're gonna come back, and we know we got some workers on speed dial. They'll be back.
Don't even worry about it. We got you. Don't even worry. They'll be back.
And see, I don't know what they do up there at CP in Central Prison in Raleigh. I don't know if they still do the license plates or whatever it is that they do. See, they do stuff like that up there in Raleigh.
You know what? I don't know, bro. I try to stay away from that area unless I'm.
Yeah. Stay
it looked depressing, right? So disproportionate impact. The high incarceration rate disproportionately affects certain demographic groups such as Black people, other people of color, and those living in poverty. The percentages of incarcerated inmates, approximately
we said let abuse you.
0.7 of the United States population is incarcerated in federal or state prisons or local jails. This includes people in state prisons, federal prisons, and other jails. Another way to look at this is crazy. Another way to look at this is that about 0.88% of adult population is incarcerated, which is one in every 100 adults in the United States is in prison. You think about that.
Yeah, and when you say it in the black neighborhoods, you see, that's what, like I said, the revolving door aspect comes back into play, because, like I said, when they go in the joint, like I said, they ain't taught a trade, so when they come back out, they got a felony attached to them. They can't get no work.
Yep.
You going right back into the same community that you can't got locked up in.
Yep.
So now you got to go back and going back to old tricks. You know what I'm saying? Fast money, or or robbery, or whatever you're doing, breaking and entering, thinking that you ain't gonna get caught again.
Yeah.
But you know, if you breaking in people's houses and stuff like that, definitely now you can't do it like you could back in the day, because it's so much camera footage and cameras around now. So you're going right back in,
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Yeah, but that number, man, 1 in every 100. So if you have a room with 200, you can just pick 2 that has it. Like, say, like, for example, if you look at it like this, you go to a school, like a middle school, you got 200 people in there. Right. One of them, 2 of them, they basically saying gonna go to jail.
They're going to
basically,
jail.
Yeah, which is crazy. According to prisonpolicy.org, with nearly 2 million people behind bars at any given time in the United States, it has the highest incarceration rate of any country in the world. Now, this is another crazy number. We spend about 182 billion every year, not to mention the significant social costs, like lockup is nearly 1% of the adult population. Now you think about that. You just mentioned earlier about money. That's where the money aspect coming in. Now you think about it. The more it's just like going to like a hotel.
Right.
They can't keep the hotel open unless the room's full.
Right.
It's like prison.
And real quick too, is like you said, with the another money aspect or deal of it too, is they gonna get money out of you one way or another. And see, a lot of people, especially like in our community, because I just seen it, some of the fellas over our way, they just got hit up or whatever, last week or whatever. So they've been going multiple charges, right? And the only thing they do is they paying the judges, they paying the lawyers, they paying their probation officers to stay out. So then while they on probation, they go out here and do the same thing, get knocked off again. So then they got to get a lawyer more money. And the only thing the lawyer's doing, he get the right judge. The lawyer's like, yo, let's get on probation again. Because, they're going to go out here and do the same thing again. Then they're going to come and hit us in the hand again to keep them out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? So, so it's a no-win situation.
Yeah.
You're going to pay the lawyers, you paying the lawyers your money, or you going to jail and work for free, pretty much.
Right. And even with that, it ain't guaranteed that you're gonna get out. It's still a situation where your lawyer may be working with other people.
Right. So you might get a little reduction in time, but you probably won't get too much. It depends on what your crime is.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's a sad situation, man, when we spend at 182 billion every year. Off of was like what I say, 2 million, 1.8 million people. So you're thinking about, I can't do the average on it, but you probably talking about what, 40, 50,000, if not more per person each year. I got to do the math on it, but it's a lot. It's a lot. So we're going to get back. Once we come back from the break, we're going to hop into is there any prison reform that was put in place for it? And we're gonna break that down once we come back after the break.
All right.
I wish there was some place that I could go where I got the promise to never be alone. These bars all have last call, and my friends, they ain't home. I wish there was some place that I could go with a heartache this big, a bottle this small. I don't think I'm ready to deal with it all. I need a 24-hour heartbreak saloon where they never have last call and play country tunes. When she walked out of my life, I nearly broke down, drowning my heartache in every bar in this town. Sooner or later, they all closed the doors, and I was left playing guitar at home on the floor with a heartache this big, a bottle this small. I don't think I'm ready to deal with it all. I need a 24-hour heartbreak saloon where they never have last call and play country tunes. With a heartache this big, a bottle this small. I don't think I'm ready to deal with it all. I need a 24-hour heartbreak saloon where they never have last call and play country tunes. Yeah, they never have last call and play good old tunes.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Welcome back.
Yes, sir.
So before the show, man, we was talking. I mentioned about prison reform, right?
Okay.
Any prison reform. So one piece of legislation that was passed, that was it was the First Step Act in 2008. I read over some of the stuff in it. Pretty good program, but Let me just read over real quick. Is the First Step Act of 2008 is a major piece of criminal reform legislation. Boy, that is
You
that
good. You all
passed
right.
in 2008. It focused on reducing recidivism, easing the federal prison population, and improving criminal justice outcomes. The act introduced several key reforms, including earned credits, risk and needs assessments, and expanded safety valve provisions. So the earned time credits, incarcerated individuals can earn time credits by participating in recidivism reduction programming or productive activities, potentially leading to early release. I'm
Right.
willing to bet they're talking about maybe work release, schools.
Right.
Yes, I guess that's what they're talking about.
Some of them, they get some time reduction, like by working in the kitchen.
Right, stuff
Like
like that. Work release.
they get like a little major. They get like major reduction in most cases. A lot of cases, unless it changed since I've been, stopped working at it. I was working there like over 20 years ago.
Oh yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
boy, they probably revamped this thing so much now. There
Yeah,
ain't no
man.
telling
Right.
what they got going on in this.
They probably got a pay raise since I've been gone.
Right,
Talking about the inmates.
right, exactly. They may be making $3 an hour now, dog.
Yeah.
So the risk and needs assessment, the act requires the development of a system to address recidivism risk and criminogenic needs for federal prisoners. I guess from what I'm reading, they do the risk and needs assessment. What do you need? What risk are you in? Whatever. I ain't really do the research on this. I ain't gonna try to act like I'm like a scholar on it. I just saw it, and some of the stuff in it was like really good. Like it said expanding the safety valve. The law expands the safety valve provision, allowing judges to sentence individuals convicted of low-level, non-violent crimes with minor criminal histories to less than the required mandatory minimum, which I'm sure you know what that means. To say, like, for example, if he's selling dope and the mandatory minimum is, I don't know, 10, the judge give him maybe 3, with 2 probation or something. I don't know.
But yeah, see, like, and when they do that, like I said, man, it's a no-win because the guys, they know they're gonna. It's kind of like a slap on the hand, right? Because, like I said, say like the max is 10,
right?
But the judge give them 3,
right?
And then, automatically, sometime the way it used to be, as soon as they get into the system, that 3 years might get cut to 15 months.
Right.
Months or whatever. And then, like you said, then you out on probation or whatever. So them guys right back out. So they gonna be up to the same tricks again, because they ain't, like at first they was threatened with 10.
Right.
They go to court with a good lawyer, get knocked down to 3.
And
then when they get in the system, 15 months on 3-year sentence, or 12. Some people might do 12, might do less than that. And they out on parole, you know what I'm saying? So that's why you always have this revolving door, because like they looking at it like, hey man, I know what I can learn. I learned from my mistakes this time. I know what I need to do to not get busted the next time.
Boy, sound like you did a little study for this show, dog. You too.
Well, hey, I used to work on the floor with them boys, man. So hey, I did know that didn't change over years. So you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yeah, man. Then also, what was that, man? The federal prisons oversight. The act includes provisions to improve the oversight of federal prisons. Federal prisons. You were state, right?
That was a mistake.
You say so?
Yeah,
it's different than I guess that.
Yeah, it's different from that Fed joint.
But that for me, when I did my research on it, I know sounds a little choppy. But for some voice, like for some reason, I'm reading stuff and it's like Porky Pig, bro. I don't understand.
But now I can, before you go in with what you was gonna say, now I can say I was working with the state on the state side.
Mhm.
No, I wasn't on the Fed side, but I knew some guys that was on the Fed side. Of course, we knew about the Fed side too now, but
Yeah.
Fed side, if they give you 10,
Mhm.
you gonna do at least 80 or 90% of it. So you're gonna do like 80. They're gonna do like 8 years.
Wow.
Most time Feds, you're gonna do day for day.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it ain't no leniency like the state is.
That's wild. That's
Yeah.
wild.
So you get feds, and that's why they say when the feds coming, that's when the boy they don't want the feds coming. The feds coming, they mean business.
The alphabet boys put fear in their heart, don't they?
Yeah.
Shit, for real. So let's go to the next part of this thing, man. Living conditions. Are the living conditions livable by normal standards? I'm
What is that?
asking.
Oh yeah.
Are the living conditions are the conditions livable by normal standards in prison based on 20 years ago? Now
Okay.
was it how were the living conditions? Is it normal?
Well, the area I worked in, they was like, all the vets out there know them too. You do too. I know we talking about like the departments, the areas I worked in, they were like open squad bay.
Yeah.
Like bunk area with the TV, TV up at the front of the cell, probably house like 30 guys in a cell block. You know what I'm saying? You had like four cell blocks, 30 in each one of them.
Yeah.
But it was open. It was like open squad bed, bunk beds and stuff like that. Now, when you're talking about going to the lockup side, now that was like single cell. You know what I'm saying? That's almost like if you go in your bathroom or a standard, I'm gonna put a standard bathroom. Some people got different types of bathroom. You go in the standard bathroom, that's what a lockup cell looks like. You close the door, the bathtub is your bed, and then you got the toilet, and then you got the sink over top of it. That's it. That's all you got, single cell.
Okay.
So as far as like what you asking, I guess they get what they pay for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let me be clear. Let me help the people out. Where my mic at? Because let me help the people out. The living conditions are terrible.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Like Trace Around said, no AC. Some
No,
of them don't
right.
have no AC.
Living conditions in prisons are often characterized by overcrowding, unsanitary conditions,
Yep.
and limited access to health care and mental health services. These factors can contribute to violence, stress, and poor physical and mental health outcomes for incarcerated individuals. So, to the young people out there, listen real close.
That ain't what he
It
wants.
ain't like it's on a movie.
No.
I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's not like a movie. I just outlined. If you don't like being close to nobody, if you don't like being dirty, you don't like being around people that got mental health issues, if you've been around them or not, if you have, this, if you ain't used to violence, because that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah, I said you're gonna get it.
If you ain't used to none of that, then stay out of prison, man. Many prisons are overcrowded with cells designed for one inmate housing multiple people. So if you ain't young people, if you're not used to sleeping in a little box with 3 people, don't go play with it.
Right.
I'm just saying this could lead to cramped living spaces, reduced privacy, and increased risk of violence and spread of disease because it's so tight, so crowded. What's the thing, man? Is it staph disease or something like that?
Staph infection.
Staph infection. Yeah, staph.
Yeah, like some athletes get. Yeah.
Yeah, and going in showers and all that. Overcrowded can strain resources, limiting access to healthcare, recreation, and essential services. Like if you need to go try to talk to, try to get out, they what if they cut that off?
Right.
Like, so now you basically stuck in a spot. So I'm saying this, I'm trying to get this to the young people. Young people, do not go play around with prison. I'm just going to tell y'all right now, it's not a game. It ain't nothing to play with. And when we come back, we're going to finish up these living conditions right after the break, y'all.
That's right.
Seen her out in LA playing with the band. In Carolina, dancing on the sand. She's a star that's slipping through my hands, like the ones that fell on Alabama. She's red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. She's my kind of girl, 'cause she's red, white, and blue. She'll get you high as the Colorado skies, and she shines like those New York City lights. As tough as Texas, and brother, she just might knock you to the ground if you start a fight. She's red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. She's my kind of girl, 'cause she's red, white, and blue. She'll wait there in the harbor, holding up her light. She'll bring a fallen soldier home underneath her stripes. She's red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. She's my kind of girl, 'cause she's red, white, and blue. She's red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. She's my kind of girl, 'cause she's red, white, and blue. She's red, white, and blue.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Welcome back.
Sir.
Yeah, so before we left, we were talking about sanitation, the living conditions.
Right.
So sanitation and hygiene, poor sanitation is a common problem in prisons with inadequate facilities and limited access to clean water and soap. This can contribute to the spread of diseases, infections, and poor hygiene, and further impacting health and well-being. So basically, the state now, well, let me ask you this. Now, is the state responsible for supplying this stuff, or is it something that they have to?
The state's supposed to keep it. Yeah.
So then the state ain't supplying it. There's another way they failing, because if they were supplying it, then they would be able to have the stuff that they need. Or another way to look at it, they could just not be taking baths.
Right. Well, some people, some guys is in, like I said, at least I know when I was working there, a lot of guys who have people that put money on their books weekly. They a lot of times, even though they're able to go to the commissary and they can buy whatever kind of soaps and stuff like that they need. You know what I'm saying? Like if they want it, but like if they don't have it, like the state does provide like soaps, and toilet paper and stuff like that. Different stuff like that. So if you got somebody that's in there that just had the bare minimum, they're gonna be, they're gonna have the bare minimum. You know what I'm saying?
I got what you're saying.
But if you have somebody that's in there like a big time drug dealer or something like that, or somebody's family may be well off, they put money on their books probably like they're supposed to. They can go to the commissary and buy this kind of brand of deodorant, or this kind of brand of soap, or this kind of brand of shampoo, name brand stuff. You know what I'm saying? So because they're able to afford it.
Because they live like a king, huh?
But you might have some, like regular, like low guys that's low to the bottom of the totem pole. They may just be, petty crime or whatever all the time on the street or whatever. They may not have nobody to turn to. So all they got is whatever the state give them, state issue. That's all they got. And
let me say this too. This is what I heard. I don't know for sure. Don't take no free stuff. Don't.
No. Hey, you have a honey bun laying on your bunk when you get back.
Knock it on the floor. Don't. Do not take that honey bun. Knock that joke on the floor. So I'll starve before.
And a cup of coffee.
Don't
take it. Trust me, I worked there for, I think about 6 years. I worked there in the state back in the day.
Yeah.
And you got that honey bun, that cup of coffee on your bunk. Hey, the boys be like, hey man, I don't want that.
Knock it on the floor.
I be like, hey bro, I don't know what to tell you. I'm getting ready to get off in a couple of minutes. So you got to, you got to fend for yourself, bro.
Yeah, don't eat it. I'm telling y'all, do not eat the honey bun or drink the coffee. You said yourself, do not take the deodorant or none of that.
Right. Tell the oncoming sergeant, the sergeant is coming on duty next. You got to go talk to him, bro.
I'm trying to tell you, man. Also, man, access to adequate health care, including dental and medical health services, often limited or inadequate in prisons. You know what I'm saying? They can't get the proper stuff they need, as far as the mental health aspect, can't get their teeth cleaned, teeth fixed, none of that. So it's kind of like one of them things where it's a bad situation all the way around. This can lead to exacerbation of existing health conditions and the development of new ones. As well as increased rates of suicide and mental health crisis. People they already dealing with mental health, and now you're in there, and you're getting picked on. You're getting taken advantage of.
Right.
It could lead to, like mental health issues, bro. Like you could, it could make people, check out.
Yeah, man. And like I said, I know stuff probably upgraded since I've been gone, but I highly doubt it in
Mhm.
most areas. But like I said, man, even like, when guys, cause like I said, everybody is like they're packed in
Yeah.
like this open squad bay area, right? But it got bars on it. And we of course we officers, we got the keys to open it up, let them in, right? So the sink area is limited.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got 4 or 5 guys might be washing their face or brushing their teeth in the morning or
Mm-hmm.
something like that, and then somebody just come out of the blue and may try to get, they need a sink too, right?
Yeah.
And by being cramped like that, a fight can start just like that.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah.
like with the mental aspect, when some guys just get fed up.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? Just a simple bumping into me at the sink.
Yeah. It can
You know,
trigger some stuff.
you can trigger it off. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll transition because I got some other stuff I want to get to before we
Okay.
run out of time. Is the privatization of prisons a part of the problem? I say it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like when it's privatized, you can
Mm-hmm.
kind of run it how you want to run it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Meaning
I
that
agree with you.
if you don't if you don't want to buy no soap this week, guess what? There ain't nobody get no soap this week.
Right.
You dig
Right.
what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, bro. But this is how it works, So the prisons they get contracts through the government, then they get payments. The government paid the private company to
Mm-hmm.
run it for. I get basically like to kind of run. It's like they franchise in prisons, y'all. Like they're
Right.
you
Yeah,
want
see,
to buy a franchise, got you.
yeah, see, real quick, like I said, you're probably like me a little bit more on that because see, before I got ready to get out of the prison system workforce, I
Uh-huh.
think they may have had one or something like that. They was building one here in North Carolina. So I really don't know a whole lot about the private sector of it,
Uh-huh.
you know.
It's basically like it's from when I did my research on this, basically like they franchising them. Like if you
Mhm.
want a prison,
Right.
based on the research they done on the younger people that's
Mhm.
about in the third, fourth grades or whatever, it'll
Yeah.
dictate how many people they think gonna be locked up. So they build it
Right.
according to that, based on what I've read and stuff
Mhm.
like that. So
Mhm.
that's basically how it how it is, man. So I'm gonna move on to this because we run up on out of time. So violence in prison, problem or no? Absolutely is a problem.
Yes, sir.
Prison violence statistics indicate a significant problem. Homicide rates in state prisons
Mhm.
are 2.5 times higher than in the general population when adjusted for age, sex, race, ethnicity.
Mhm.
And so um let me go to this.
They got it's
Increasing,
yeah.
go ahead. No,
No,
go ahead.
no, go ahead. I said they got to definitely have some protection because real quick, I was working down there during the time my man was down there to kill Michael Jordan's daddy.
Oh,
And
really?
they found a long knife on him. He had to keep himself protected, man. I was working down there during that time.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's
Daniel Green,
tricky,
yeah.
man. It's tricky, man, because
Yeah.
you never know. Like you said, you could be at the sink
Yeah.
and you at the sink and somebody bump you. Next thing you know, it's on.
Yeah, he had
You fight.
he kept one on him, man, like a shank on him, like it was the size of a 12-inch ruler.
Wow.
Yeah, he had to
Wow.
keep it on him because he gave, he was the one that killed Jordan's daddy. So
Yeah.
so it is what it is.
Inmates under 25 are more likely to be involved in violent acts, while
Mhm.
older inmates may be more at risk of homicide. Basically, man, like the young folks, they kind of in gangs, so they gotta stick together, and they're gonna go around extorting, and they're gonna go ahead and take
Mhm.
your stuff. Basically, just
Yep.
it's basically what it is. You better not go tell it, because if you seriously, if you
You're right though.
yeah, you better not go tell it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it's what it is.
Mhm.
So if for young folk, let me say this because we got a few seconds left. Young folk, please, if you ever get a chance to hear this, do not I repeat, do not go to jail. Hey, thanks y'all for tuning in to Man Talk 133 with Shaw and Daryl. Until next time, God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.